Combat medics never stand taller than when they kneel to treat the wounded. A line from the Combat Medic Creed.
All right. Welcome back to the Headspace and Tasting Podcast, where we talk manhood, tell stories, and discuss the stuff that matters to us one sip at a time. Welcome back yet again, Kevin.
What's up, Matt?
It's a blisteringly hot day today. Probably going to be hotter tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yes. But you know what? A whole week of this heat, never once did we come close to our record.
No.
Not one day.
Not close.
We never even broke 100 degrees.
My dad's birthday was last week, and he turned 84. And I think it was 101 degrees the day he was born, back in 1943. So he was like, this ain't no big deal.
I'm used to it now. I'm driving around with the windows down.
No, you're a psycho.
I don't know. It seems fine to me.
So joining us today, you heard Kevin read a line from the Combat Medics Creed of the U.S. Army. Every U.S. Army has a creed for everything. And we have a special guest today joining us, one of our co-workers who was a combat medic in the United States Army and a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom during the global war on terrorism. And his name is Jeremy. Thanks for coming, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
We got him fed with some pizza. We got some good bourbon we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to tell some more stories.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on our last show that we found out that there's actually a story to be told about the oral history of the war on terror that just isn't being told right now.
Right. You hear the special operations guys on YouTube a lot talking about their war, which was completely different than the conventional forces war. Mm-hmm. And you always hear those guys talk about, like, man, I feel sorry for those bastards sitting in those guard towers or sitting on a street corner patrolling, cordon and search and all that. They're just targets. So we're going to talk a lot about that today because Jeremy was there in 2005, which was right before the Islamic State in Iraq started kicking off. And we'll get into more detail of that. But Jeremy, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
And so tell us about yourself. You grew up here in this area?
Yeah, I grew up here in St. Louis. Basically stayed here until right after high school, moved to Indianapolis, then joined the Army, went to Fort Knox, Kentucky for basic.
Oh, nice.
Went to Fort Sam Houston for medic school, and then shipped right to Fort Stewart.
So what made you choose the, so when you sit down with a recruiter,
right?
What made you choose medic?
Or when did you choose the Army or why?
Yeah, before then.
Well, the cousin I hung out with the most joined the Army right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of convinced me because I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Was this before or after 2011, 9/11?
This was before.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Setting the stage.
Yeah, so I graduated high school in, 2001? God, it's been forever.
24 years, brother.
Yeah, that makes you feel really old. And then just didn't know what I wanted to do. Did I want to work on vehicles? Did I want to go to college? I just had no idea. And then my cousin joined the Air Defense Artillery.
Oh, okay.
So,
first to fire, first to flee. 88 ain't for me.
Yeah, they became infantry because the Army got rid of them and turned them into infantry.
Yeah, so we were at his house one day, and he was talking all about it, and I said, okay, I'll go talk to him. Didn't tell my parents. I just went in.
I mean, you're a full-grown man. Why should you?
Yeah, I went in, talked to him, and like, yeah, you should be a medic. You'll go in, work in the hospital. It'll be great. And the only time I saw a hospital was when I had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was an eye-opening experience, but I got to do a lot of cool stuff that I would never be able to do as a civilian.
Sure. So how was basic training for you?
It wasn't bad, really.
Yeah.
It was, looking back on it now, it was amazing because you're taking all these random people, different races, different religions, never met each other, and you're training them to work together as one despite the fact that people are coming and trying to kill you.
Yeah, even guys like you hate each other, but
Mhm.
you're still platoon mates, and you hate the other platoon more, or you hate the enemy more. So
Yeah.
you still
So,
come together.
You know, I was always told, keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Just do what you're told. If they say to be out there in 30 seconds in your PT uniform, you just be out there in 30 seconds. I only got yelled at once. And that was because somebody else was getting yelled at and the sun was in my eyes. So I was
Yeah.
squinting and it made it look like I was laughing. So,
Nice.
yeah, I kept
Yeah.
my mouth shut. Everything went great. And
Fort Knox is
graduated.
wonderful. That's where I went to drill sergeant school. And I actually I trained some troops down there, BCT, and we run them up Fort Heartbreak and Misery. Do you remember those two hills?
yeah, that
Where
was,
you go up the one, it's the never-ending hill, and then you crest, and you're like, oh, thank God it's the top, and then you look up, and there's another hill. So you have about 20 yards of flat surface, and then it goes up again.
yeah. Well,
But you did your medic training at Fort Sam Houston?
Yep.
Yeah, I did some training
I
down
loved
there.
it.
Yeah, you
Love
liked it down there?
Yeah, it was.
I always heard that's the place to be, man, because that's where the medics are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you like, if you like Latinas, that's the place to be.
Oh.
Except for
Well, San Antonio.
No comment from me.
the food was out of this world amazing.
Yeah.
Not the chow hall food, but
So
on
this
the
was
Riverwalk.
your AIT, Advanced Individual Training.
The Riverwalk.
How many? Okay, so how did you figure out when you were graduating? Well, how was medic school? Like, it's basically paramedic school, right?
Yeah, I got lucky because I was in Easy Echo, and Foxtrot was on the pad next to us, and their drill sergeants were just demonic,
Yeah.
constantly smoking the hell out of them. I don't know if they were just bad or
Mhm.
what, but our guys were just, you get your shit done, they treat you with respect.
Oh, okay.
And so we'd be sitting down there polishing our boots, watching them just push up after push up. And
Mm-hmm.
I still remember my main drill sergeant, I can't remember his name, but I always called him Little Hitler
Uh-oh.
because he was about 5'4", had the Hitler mustache,
Yeah.
and was just always like, Brindle, what are you doing? Where's the porn?
Where's the...
Yeah, and then my my bunkmate's like, drill sergeant, it's all digital now.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Yeah, dude.
So there was a lot of really cool things about San Antonio.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Cool, man. And how did you find out where you were going after that? Did they line? Because for us, they lined us up in the hallway alphabetically, and they just were, Hutchison. Then they got to me. The guys before me were like Fort Leonard Wood. And I was like, please God, don't make me stay here at Fort Leonard Wood. And then Fort Lewis. And there's like 4 of us went to Fort Lewis, and I didn't even know where the hell that was. So how did they do it for you?
Yeah, it was basically the same thing where they just kind of sat us all down on the pad and
Yeah.
just read us out name by name where we were going.
Okay. So when they
So-
said Fort Stewart, Georgia,
It's like, what the hell is that?
yeah,
I
what did you
didn't
think?
I was like, well, I guess it's Georgia. It's a new place. Let me check it out. And that was after 9/11, so I knew. I mean, shit had already hit the fan.
Well, yeah, like the third. So let's talk about Fort Stewart is the division headquarters for the 3rd Infantry Division,
Yep.
and the 3rd Infantry Division was part of the main push in the invasion of Iraq. Their main mission was to take the airport, right? I think they were supposed to get to Baghdad International Airport. I think
Yeah,
was their mission. But everybody knew the 3rd ID from the invasion.
Yeah.
They were all over TV. The reporters were with 3rd ID. And we learned about Rock of the Marne and Audie Murphy. They talk about the history of this unit. It's a very historical unit.
Oh yeah.
A lot of heritage.
Yeah, the broken TV.
Yeah, that's what their patch looks like. Yeah, a
But yeah,
TV with it.
you see it all over. Like if you watch documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that patch everywhere.
Yeah, World War I, World War II, all the way. And they're an armored unit, right?
Yes.
So you had tanks and Bradleys and all
Yeah.
that jazz.
Like our scouts used Humvees.
Okay.
Our infantry used Bradleys, and then we had tankers, which stuck with us for about a couple weeks, and then they moved off to our main base.
Okay. So that's when you're in Iraq you're talking about. So when you go ahead, Kim.
I wanted to back up one. Before you went to Fort Stewart, you said that while you're still there graduating, that 9/11 had happened. How did they roll that out to you? How did you find out about it?
So 9/11 happened right before I had enlisted in the Army, and I was actually in tech school. It was
You were in the delayed entry program.
Yeah, I was in the delayed entry
Okay.
program. So I actually got into the Army in July of 2002. So
You had enlisted.
was-
Did you enlist before 9/11?
yes.
So what was going through your mind when 9/11 was happening and George Bush is like, we're bringing hell?
we're fucked. I mean,
Yeah.
I still remember to this day. I was sitting in the classroom. Our principal comes in, pulls down the screen, turns on the projector or whatever, and all of a sudden one tower is already burning. The second tower, plane comes in, hits it, and I just sat there. I'm like,
Did everybody turn and look at you like, Jeremy, you're going in the Army?
yeah, it was. That was my first thought, and then my second thought was my cousin was already in.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, what is going to happen to him
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Because he's not, in the rear with the gear. He's,
Right.
In front line. So, and I couldn't contact him.
Right.
So it was just, take it one day at a time.
So when you were
Ready.
at basic training, obviously we'd already invaded Afghanistan, but we hadn't invaded Iraq yet.
Right.
Did you have any combat veteran drill sergeants, or they were just Gulf War veterans? Maybe, probably not even that, right?
Yeah. In basic training, none
Probably
of
not
them were
yet.
veterans.
No.
Some of them had like Ranger tabs,
Sure.
stuff like that, but they didn't have anything on their right shoulder.
Yeah, and then when you got to AIT, probably the same, right?
Pretty much the same, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then when you got to Fort Stewart, now you're seeing some combat vets that were in the invasion. I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because when I got to Fort Stewart, they were still deployed from the initial invasion.
Oh, okay.
But it was too late for me to go as a replacement, so they just kept me
because the
back.
invasion started in what did we say? April 2003,
I want to say March.
March 2003.
I thought it was
Okay.
02.
So when did you get to Fort Stewart?
It was 03. Yeah.
God, that's a good question. So it was 6 months in AIT, so it was probably a good 10 months since I joined up. So it was a couple months after the invasion.
Oh,
I think.
okay. So, wow. So you got the rear detachment
Yeah,
duties,
yeah,
Like-
that was interesting.
like
too.
cutting grass and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, we had
Did you have to do any funerals or notifications or be a part of any of that stuff?
No, I got lucky. Didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's good.
We had a hurricane come through
Oh,
and wrecked a lot of our gunnery ranges. So I had to take the Humvee and go back and make sure nobody was back there messing around.
okay.
Other than that, just doing maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
making sure things were, good for everybody coming back.
So your unit, when you go to Fort Stewart, you go to a holding unit where they figure out which unit you're actually going to go to.
Yep.
And so you get to reception, and you figure out. Did they tell you what unit you go to?
March of 03.
March 03. Okay. They told you what unit you're going to, and that they're already deployed.
Yeah.
Who picked you up? Did somebody come, like staff duty, come pick you up?
Yeah, if I remember right, it was just some random dude came, picked us up,
Yeah.
brought us over, kind of introduced us to everybody that was still in rear deployment,
Yeah.
all the broke people,
Right.
stuff like that. So
Okay.
there was just random duties until
And what unit did you get assigned to?
369 armor.
Okay. So you're a medic in an armored company,
Right.
or were you at the battalion level?
I was a second platoon medic.
Okay, so platoon medic.
Yeah.
And you were actually there for a little bit. I mean, you had time to adjust to the unit. Because you were there, 2 years?
Yeah. So it was. They got back later on that year, and then.
What was that like for them guys coming back? How was it?
It was a bit of an adjustment, really,
Yeah.
because we've been there for long enough where we don't know anybody that's coming back,
Yeah.
but they all have served with each other, and
Yeah. You're
you know,
kind of the
bonded.
outsider.
Yeah.
Huh?
So it took a while because not only that, I had graduated from medic school, haven't done any medical stuff in a long time
Yeah.
because there was no medical stuff to do. So when they get back, all of a sudden I'm having to learn all this stuff all over again.
So their medic came back with them, and there was like a handoff from him to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it was a whole medical platoon that came
okay.
back, and they kind of bring you in and kind of bring you up to speed on everything.
Okay.
You know, basically just fall in, do what we do.
Yeah.
You know, here's our assignments. You're working the troop medical clinic this week. You're working sick call this week.
Okay.
You know, and then really the cool thing was if I had any questions, everybody could answer.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was like, "Oh, you're just a private. You know, get over there and sweep the floors." It was
Yeah, because they just saw it firsthand. Like, you
Yeah.
need to be ready, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure they were quick to download information to you.
Mhm.
Did they see a lot?
I don't know.
I mean, initial
What's that?
invasion. There probably wasn't a whole lot of storytelling.
In the third ID?
No, they really
lot
kind
of
of
dead
kept
Iraqis.
it all. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just overwhelming. They
Yeah.
just rolled in, everybody disappeared and dissolved.
Yeah.
Well, you had the Medal of Honor recipient from third ID, the engineer, got the Medal of Honor.
Yeah. But,
Um,
I mean, nobody really talked about it when they got back.
Yeah.
It was more just come back, business as usual
Oh, okay.
kind of thing.
Hmm.
You know, nobody was bragging about anything.
When was their first PT test?
Oh, God.
I'm sure it was like a week later.
Yeah.
All right, everybody needs to do PT tests.
Yeah. Make sure our equipment's squared away and then back to normal.
Okay. All right. So you didn't deploy to Iraq until 2005. So you were just kind of in the medical company
Yep.
for 369 Armor
Mm-hmm.
and rotating through the TMC, Troop Medic Clinic, doing sick calls and basics.
Yep.
And then when they go to the field, you would get attached to
Right.
a company or I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know how Army unit. It's not a cav unit, so they don't go by troops and all that.
Yeah, it was just our platoon. I mean,
Uh-huh.
basically for the first, year since I was there, it was kind of just we were a medical platoon. We did our training as medics.
Mm-hmm.
Then whichever unit we were attached to when they went out to the field, we'd go with them. But other than that, we were just in our medical platoon because we had to train up and
Yeah.
get ready with our jobs.
Sure.
And then the cool thing about being an infantry medic is we did what they did. They were doing the shoot house. We went and did the shoot house with
Yeah.
them. We shot just as much as they did because it's not.
It's not like the old days where the medic doesn't
Right.
carry a weapon.
Yeah, they don't care if you're a medic or not.
Yeah.
You better shoot.
Right. Yeah.
So it was
How was that first time going to the field with the infantry?
it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it because we get some perks being medics.
Oh, yeah.
We brought our Humvee out, so we slept in the Humvee
Yeah.
while they were sleeping in their tents. And
You got air conditioner in your Humvee too, don't you?
I don't think we
Did you have the
actually did.
ambulance
No.
Humvee?
What
Uh-uh.
Humvee was that?
The ambulance Humvee always had an air conditioner.
No, we didn't have ambulance Humvees.
Oh, okay.
Our
Just
ambulances were the troop carriers.
Oh, all right.
But we mainly brought our Humvee out with us if we had multiple platoons at the same
Yeah,
time.
you got to understand that Matt was an engineer, so he doesn't really understand the rest of the Army.
Kevin, I'm not going to take that from a pogue leg. Watch your mouth.
Man.
I still outrank you. That's okay.
Y'all outrank me. So
So,
All right, so-
between the time, so when it came up to 05, just before that or whenever, how much time did you get between your alert status and you were actually going to deploy?
I mean, we knew it was just scheduled, so we knew far like months in advance we were
Okay.
going back. So it was for us, it was an every other year deployment. So they were there in 03, then we went back in 05. So we knew months and months in advance.
Yeah.
It was just basically from the middle of the year on, it was just constant
Did you
going
go
out
to
to the
like
field.
NTC and
Yeah.
all that in rotation? Yeah.
At that point, I was actually an engineer medic.
Nice.
And we were out at NTC.
How was that? Pretty rough, isn't it?
Oh, it sucked. I remember waking up one day. I'm like, where in the hell is everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Our troop carrier was just sitting there. And I look out, and everybody's gone.
Yeah, sappers wake up early, man.
I'm like,
Sleep with one eye open.
Nobody even told us they were leaving. And then I talked to my platoon, or my
Because they don't get wounded, they heal themselves.
Yeah, I
don't
talked to
do
my
that.
platoon sergeant. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Stick me with somebody else, please. So they stuck me with the infantry. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. We do our own medics. We do our own stuff.
Yeah,
They're just above the crayon level. I can see how this show's going to go. So, all right, so you got alerted.
Mm-hmm.
And when
did
did,
your training rotations?
when did you head overseas?
It was like January of 2005. I mean, we were there pretty much the entire year of 2005. So we went into Kuwait,
Yeah, tell us the story.
did a little more training in Kuwait.
Camp Udari. So,
God, it's been so long. I can't remember what the
Yeah.
camp was. All I know is there was food everywhere.
yeah.
It was great. And then instead of us driving our own vehicles up to Samara, they put us on, the back of 18-wheelers, like flatbed 18-wheelers, and they drove us.
You put your vehicles on the back of 18?
Mhm.
Okay. I
Yeah,
thought you
so-
meant like troops on the back of an 18.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wasn't either. But it was basically like a convoy all the way up. And that was our first initiation into Iraq.
What'd you think, like, when you crossed the border from Kuwait into Iraq? Was it like, I'm going, like, lock and load, baby? It's ready.
No, we were sleeping in the back of our vehicles
Yeah.
while they were doing the driving, thinking, oh, it's, we don't have to drive. We're just hanging out. We
Yeah.
have all of our equipment in our troop carrier. And
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty chill until all of a sudden we just came to a quick stop. And we were like, what in the hell is going on? Everybody's getting out.
Mhm.
And then we walk up, and there was this female driver. She was crying her eyes out. I was like, what in the hell happened?
Hmm.
You look at the front of her truck, and it's blown half off.
Ooh.
So an IED hit them on our way up, and then we kind of realized this is for real.
Yeah.
So you went into Samara.
Yeah.
Okay, so Samara is north of Baghdad. It's almost
a little
right in
north.
between Baghdad and Tikrit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right on the Tigris River.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where you were planted.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a big dam there. There's the Golden Mosque,
Mhm.
which is a pretty historic thing.
Yeah, the minaret and
Yeah.
everything.
How long was that drive up there? How long did it take you to get there?
Yeah, it seemed like it took forever because we had to keep stopping and
Yeah.
different things. It was at least a day and a half. But they dropped us off at Fob Brassfield, which is our main base outside of Samara.
Okay.
We unloaded our vehicles and everything, and then a couple days later, I guess we just drove ourselves into Patrol Base Uvani.
Okay. And we looked into it. Patrol Base Uvani was a New York National Guard soldier who was killed by a sniper there in Samara. So this was at the time, was Petraeus running the show with these putting these patrol bases out and all that kind of stuff? Because it used to be just the FOBs, like everybody's operating out of forward operating bases.
Right.
And then it came into combat outposts or patrol bases.
Yeah, basically
Counterinsurgency.
we were stuck in the middle of the city.
Okay.
They put the Jersey barriers around us, that whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of like letting everybody know we're here.
Okay.
You're sitting there, kind of like taunting people.
Did you have buildings, like tall buildings looking down into the...
Yeah, we definitely were
Patrol
not the
base?
tallest building.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, it was interesting because there was a big wide open field in front of us, and we used a troop carrier to be like our gate guard kind of,
Okay.
and we just didn't have any running water.
Ooh.
We had a hot meal every other day. Other than that, it was just basically MREs.
Holy crap.
And how long was that?
That was for the entire year.
The full year.
Yep.
In 2005.
Not once did they ever rotate you down to the main base to take a hot shower or anything and rotate you back out?
Not really, unless we were going there for a reason. You know, we went to Camp Anaconda for a day, and that was about it.
That was probably like going to Disneyland, huh?
Holy hell. I went and got some Subway, went and watched a movie. It was great. And then we went back, and it was sad again.
Oh, boy.
Well,
Yeah.
that just how large was your unit there? You said it was a platoon, but
Yeah, so
they're all different.
We had 2 companies of infantry with us.
Oh, okay.
Then we had kind of our support guys with us as well. A couple of guys had our comms guys, you know, the medics. But our artillery was at Brassfield. Our tanks were at Brassfield.
So you just had Bradleys and APCs?
Yeah.
You had a couple hundred guys.
Yeah. So it
Right
was.
there, okay.
I mean, we were pretty well fortified, but
Sure.
you know, we didn't have our big guns with us.
Yeah.
So
And so what is a normal, when you first get there, there's a handoff? Like, who did you take over from?
I can't remember who the unit was we took over from, but it was a good week to 2 weeks. They were there.
The right seat ride?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were kind of going out with them. They were, you know, telling us some stories about what to look for,
Mhm.
you know, how things are going to happen. Just making sure we were focusing on the right things as far as, you know, trauma and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just letting our nerves settle
Yeah.
before they left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So run us through. What was your first, 30, 60 days, 90 days? What was your day
Gosh.
like?
It was basically get up, go to the bathroom, you know, just kind of put our gear on, getting our Bradleys. You know, our lieutenant would always be in his Humvee, and then I was always in the platoon sergeant's
Yeah.
Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go out, we'd drive around a little bit, see if anybody pop out, and then we'd choose different houses to go into, do some overwatch for a while, see if we can see anybody planting IEDs. And it was just the same routine over and over again. We'd be out for several hours. You know, if something happened, then, you know, we'd take care of it. But then it was just come back, you know, unload our stuff, do some maintenance, make sure everything was working right, just in case, and then we just relax. Watch
So
some
what was
TV.
the first call out that you had personally?
Oh gosh, well, my first
Woo.
my first real big thing was, if I remember right, it was on Valentine's Day, and we had mortars coming in, and our first
That's
sergeant, he wanted to find out where they were coming from. So he told the gate guard to look and see if he can see where they were coming from, where they were landing.
Is this before they knew how to do impact surveys? Right.
Yeah. So it landed right on our gate guard.
Oh, my gosh.
So all of a sudden everybody's yelling, medic, medic. And we just got there. I didn't know what to expect, really.
Mhm.
Everybody's running out, so all of us medics run out there, and there's people on top of the APC pulling the guys out. And I'm holding the litter so they could roll him onto it,
Mhm.
and he comes down and just everything's hanging out.
Yeah.
And at that point I realized this isn't a video game.
Yeah.
This is real. There's no reset button. You know, every decision you make, it can either be good or bad.
Yeah.
And that one kind of woke everybody up.
Okay.
You know, just
How long was that in country?
not that long. It was just a couple of weeks.
Damn.
You know, so it was, and he was a young guy too.
Yeah.
He was standing up, and you could see the burn from the impact right on the lid there,
Turret.
right next to him.
Yeah.
So it was a
Damn.
bad one. And I mean, basically from that day on, they mortared us every morning.
Oh, wow. I heard that was kind of like they do that to new units just to test you guys, see what your response is. And
Yeah. I mean, I refused to take a shit in the morning.
Really? Because you knew it was
Yeah.
the
There
alarm
were-
clock as
Yeah.
the mortar's coming in?
Yeah, the mortars were our alarm clock, pretty much. They woke us up, and they were pretty regular, too. But they'd only throw a handful of them and then scoot,
Yeah.
to make sure we couldn't go get them.
Wow.
So yeah, that was our introduction to Iraq, and it kind of screwed our heads on straight, made us realize, this is not a game. It's
Don't
real
go try to
life.
look for where mortars are coming from. You should
No.
probably take cover.
Yeah. At least have cover if
Yeah.
you're looking, but
Man.
it's bad. Yeah.
Well, how was it like leaving the wire your first time, like going out on patrol?
Yeah, I still remember, because you can't really see much of anything out of a Bradley.
No.
And, of course, being a medic, I was always the last one to come out, so I was stuck in the corner right up against the turret.
Oh, nice.
So on one hand, I was in the dark, can't see anything. On the other hand, I got the air coming down through the turret, so it wasn't as hot there.
Right.
But going out, you still really don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember every time I'd go outside the wire, I would just pray, God, bring me home,
Yeah.
so I can, say hi to my mom and dad. And after that, you just kind of calm down, and because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
You're basically just driving around hoping somebody will pop up, because nobody's besides us are wearing a uniform.
Yeah.
They're more scared of Al Qaeda than they're scared of us. So they're not willingly coming out and telling us, hey, there's guys over there, you need to go get them.
Sure.
So it's basically just a game of tag.
Well, it's also a valid point of view. What you are expressing is, the role you're in, the environment you're in, the conditions, and really your position in the war at that moment. And you're like, I'm here. I'm just going to do it every day and roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
And how are the members of your unit? I mean, was it pretty much the same across the board, or
Yeah.
some could handle it not so much, or?
We didn't have a single person that couldn't handle it.
Were most of them second deployment guys?
There were quite a few,
Yeah.
but they were all super professional, no hesitation, just go out, form your perimeter
Mm-hmm.
until they tell us to get back in the Bradley. Nobody was scared. They just, as soon as that ramp dropped, everybody was going out.
Did you go out immediately as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were actually part of the patrol.
Yeah, for the first couple of months I was.
Okay.
Until one day we were stacked up getting ready to go into somebody's house, and then my first sergeant decided to come with us, and he saw me standing there. He's like, the fuck you doing, Doc? If you die, we all die. Get your ass back in the Bradley. And from then on, it was
No more fun.
no,
Okay.
no, I didn't get to have any more
So
fun.
he called you Doc. What
Yeah.
about your platoon? When did they start calling you Doc? Because that's a pretty special thing for a medic, right?
Yeah, it was interesting, because in medic school they always say you're not respected until they call you Doc. They'll yell medic, or they'll yell your last name or something like that. They're not like rude about it, but they don't know what you can do until you do it. And we were on patrol one day and got attacked, and all of a sudden I heard Doc, get ready, and jumped out. There was a pregnant Iraqi woman, and she got shot in the leg by a 7.62 because that hole was pretty big. And I was able to bandage it up, stop the bleeding, get an IV in her so we can stabilize her, get her to the hospital. And from then on, it was just, hey, Doc, you know, people would offer to help carry all your gear.
Yeah.
It was a completely different feeling once you start getting called Doc.
Sure.
That was, you're part of the crew,
So in that moment, you're right in that moment where you're treating someone. Hands are steady.
Mm-hmm.
Thought anywhere else, or is your thought just right there?
It's just right there. That was the coolest part. Is you do all that training. I mean, we were doing months of 4 days in the field, 3 days off, back out in the field. We didn't do a whole lot except for training out in the field. And at some point it gets annoying. You're like, why the hell are we still out here doing the same thing over and over again? They don't tell you. They just say, we're going out, we're doing shooting, we're doing these drills, we're doing mass casualty, we're doing triage, all this different stuff, and it's just repetitive over and over and over again. And then when the shit hits the fan and nobody hesitates, you don't hesitate. You just grab your gear, run in, you see the wound, you fix the wound, you get them out. And there's no thinking involved.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you just sit there and you're kind of contemplating everything, like what just happened, because this is not normal. But you're just like, I don't remember thinking of anything.
Yeah.
It's just, this person's hurt. That's all I care about at that
Do
point.
your trauma assessment,
You know,
follow your protocols, and
Yeah.
That's amazing.
then it's over.
We have our guys out, doing the perimeter. I'm not thinking about them because I know they've got their job down pat. We got our Bradleys out there. All I got to worry about is this person here.
Wow.
And it turned out fine. Got her to the hospital and she was all right.
Cool. Yeah, thigh wound could be tricky, man.
Yeah, luckily it didn't hit an artery or,
Yeah.
it was more of a Monty Python flesh wound. But it was kind of interesting too, because it was a pregnant woman, but her husband and her son were there.
Yeah.
So I almost expected, some kind of problem, because me
Like,
being a
don't
guy,
touch my wife.
and
Yeah.
me not being Muslim, is there going to be any issues? But no, there was no issues.
Yeah.
They just let me do my thing, and
Yeah, there's that human factor. That stuff kind of goes out the window.
at the end of the day, they just wanted their mom and their wife to be okay. They knew it wasn't us, because it was, the size of the wound was completely different.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So over the course of the year, how many responses do you think you had?
God, we had a lot of QRF responses, but not a lot of casualties. It wasn't as often as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, especially after your first couple weeks there, that guy gets hit with a mortar.
Yeah. Once that happens, just like, all right, this is my job.
Yeah.
You just go out and do it. But most of them were just already passed away. Nothing you can do about it.
Americans, you're talking about?
Mostly Iraqis,
Iraqis.
really.
Okay.
We had a couple, just flesh wounds. It was just a speckling of everything, but it wasn't like every time we go out, somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And that was because of the Bradleys, really.
Yeah.
The Bradleys saved us from a lot of casualties.
What about the IED threat?
We got ripped apart by a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. The IEDs hit very hard, to say the least.
Okay.
And you're in the back of a Bradley, you can't see the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember one day we were on patrol, and all of a sudden we stop, and there's this little circle drive, and we started to go through the circle drive, and an IED went off, hit our LT's Humvee, ripped the fender off. So we pull guard, we're just like looking around, see if we can find anybody. Nothing else happens. So we mount back up, and we didn't go more than 50 feet, and an IED just rips us from underneath our Bradley. Went
The
off.
one you're in?
Yeah. They said our Bradley flew about 6 feet in the air.
Wow.
Blew off half our wheels. Our reactive armor was half blown off. And I was unconscious. Apparently, I got elbowed in the face. Somebody told me because they apologized. I had no idea. I was out. I was out until they dropped the ramp and everybody was out the vehicle. But it ripped a hole underneath our engine. So that was how close the blast was. Because it wasn't like on the side of the road blowing in. It was under the road and blew up. So that rocked us pretty good. Had a few concussions out of that one.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was.
That's amazing.
That was. I don't know how they did it because we didn't see any issues with the road because we're
like
always
a sewer
looking at the
pipe
road.
under there or something.
I guess all I know is they said they were using 155 rounds and stuff like that, and they must have packed it pretty good because
to pick up a Bradley, that's crazy.
It gave people concussions that weren't even in the vehicle.
It could be that you all were lucky because it went off underneath the engine.
Yeah. If it would have went underneath us, I think because it's an aluminum vehicle, it would have just turned us into mush.
Man.
Wow.
So.
And the concussions, man, that's an injury that's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, but I mean, besides the concussions, nobody had a scratch on them.
Yeah. So after you regained consciousness, were you going around checking on guys and?
Yeah, we all got out of the back of the Bradley, went in one of the houses, and then while we were waiting on everybody else to kind of check, see if they could find who detonated it and all that, I was checking everybody, and I still remember my platoon sergeant's face. He was done.
Really?
At that point.
Like shut down?
Yeah, he didn't last much longer.
Bro.
Really?
Yeah. He got replaced after that because I just don't think he could
So that was
handle
probably
it
his second deployment, being a platoon sergeant.
Yeah.
What about your LT and his driver just prior? I mean, it ripped off the fender, but that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy part because usually there's not a bunch of IEDs in one cluster. It was mainly just one big IED and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's why we just kept going because we're like, oh, okay, that was it. And then,
Yeah, we started learning about the daisy-chained IEDs in 06, or they would do a diversionary IED, like set something off at the beginning of the convoy to get you to stop in their kill zone, and then they'd have daisy-chained 155s like plastered into the sidewalk so it looks like a curb. They would take the curb out and put all sorts of weird stuff. But they figured out that we would just blow through an ambush. So they wanted to do something to stop us.
Yeah.
So that's what we started training our guys in 06. Was like,
were your patrols daily?
Pretty much.
Okay.
We had occasional days off where other units would just go out and we'd just be the QRF.
oh, okay.
But if we weren't the QRF, we were mostly going out.
Were you ever a return fire kind of person, or no? Never had to do that.
I never got the chance to.
Yeah.
It was mainly just.
That's not your job anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I
Like
was just
you're the medic.
curious.
Yeah,
But-
it was kind of like, okay, they'd pop up, maybe they would throw a few grenades or a few RPGs, and then they'd run.
Yeah.
Because our guns will reach through walls
Sure.
to get them, so they're not going to stick around.
And you got
very
thermal
long.
sights too.
Yeah.
What about the rules of engagement at that time? Did they give you any briefings on rules of engagement?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because when we were having our initial talks prior to the show, you had mentioned it being the Wild West,
Yeah.
and curious for you to elaborate on what you meant by that.
Yeah, it was basically they shoot at you, you shoot at them. Do what you got to do.
Was it like you had to have positive ID on a weapon and malicious intent, or was it if you think they have a weapon, or if they're out after curfew, or
Yeah, if you're out after curfew, you don't want to see us out there.
Yeah.
It's because it's not. We're not gonna question you. It's
Okay.
just you're done. Normally we didn't see people just running around with weapons
Sure.
because they just pop out, shoot at us, and then
Run away.
But it was basically if you're under threat, you take care of the threat. That's it. I mean, we didn't even have to count our rounds, count anything. It was just take care of business, try to eliminate collateral damage. We tried to keep everything as nice as we found it. We didn't shoot through buildings if we didn't have to. It was just kind of, we tried to keep everything towards us. We didn't want other people facing the repercussions of us fighting Al Qaeda. It was because they're just civilians. The only downside is we can't tell who's civilian, who's not.
Right.
It was just, that's why we waited till they popped up to shoot at us, because we can't guess if they're Al Qaeda.
So,
and we're trying to do the whole hearts and minds thing.
yeah.
So we can't piss people off by just busting in their house and wrecking their stuff.
What did you think about the Hearts and Mind campaign?
It's a good start, but it can only be a small component. You don't want to piss everybody off, then you're having to deal with everybody.
Creating more insurgents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming if you didn't have running water, nobody else did either.
Yeah, our Fob Brassfield, they had a lot nicer stuff. They had porta potties. We pissed in PVC tubes in the ground. And then our crappers were basically just these wooden boxes you'd go in, and there was like just a toilet seat sitting there, so you'd sit it down, and there's a tub where you just take a dump in. They burn it with fuel. And,
Diesel fuel. Yeah.
but yeah, it's...
Dang.
I think that's the biggest issue I had with the whole deployment was we had the hearts and minds. We treated people as best we could. We didn't purposely mistreat anybody. But if they're more scared of the enemy than they're scared of you, they can't help you.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go in there and ruin them, but Al Qaeda will.
Yeah.
If they tell us, oh, Al Qaeda is over in that building there, they'll come kill their whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with that? Unless you know who Al Qaeda is, you're kind of like, it was just pop up, just playing tag. That's about it.
So did you feel more like a target, like you were just react to contact, a target over there rather than a offensive force?
Yeah, pretty much, because there wasn't like a big group just hanging out in this specific area we could go attack. We were just trying to draw people out so we could do a little bit at least, you know. And that was kind of the frustrating part. You see like the Battle of Mosul and all this other stuff, and they could just go in and just start laying waste to everybody, but we couldn't. There was not much we could do about it.
Right.
What did you do on your downtime? How were you able, you're on a base that has nothing. So how are you able to detach yourself, if at all?
We had a TV, DVD player. So I still remember to this day getting, do you guys remember Smallville? The Superman
thing, yeah.
That was coming out. That was still the hottest thing when we were over there.
Yeah.
And my parents would send me the newest season whenever it would come out on DVD.
Oh.
And everybody would just gather around watching it. We loved Smallville.
Yeah. What about the little treats? Did you get any care packages with the sweet treats?
Yeah, that was our savior, really. We would get SpaghettiOs, we'd get beef jerky, candy, fruit. I would get the Del Monte fruit cups, the plastic ones, not the metal ones. I still eat those to this day because it's just that good. It brings back good memories, really.
Nice.
We also had a small little, 5-station gym we'd work out at. We had the internet. Our comms guy was amazing.
Yeah.
He hooked up the internet. It was not the greatest internet, but it was basically the comms guy had internet. The LT probably had internet, and then our aid station had internet. That was it. So I was always at the aid station.
Yeah.
On the internet, on MySpace.
Oh, okay.
Finding girls for when I got home, stuff like that.
I might not make it back. Send me a picture of your boobies.
Yeah. That's a good point. How old were you when you were over there?
Oh, gosh.
20?
20, I believe. So I was born in 82. So I may have, I was 20.
Baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how about working in the aid station? Did you rotate in the aid station to work? And you see any crazy, weird, like camel spider bites and stuff like that?
That was the weird thing. I didn't see any camel spiders.
No?
Everybody talked up these damn camel spiders. I'm like, where in the hell are they? I wanted to see them.
Yeah.
It was more of like, Doc, I got diarrhea. Can I get something? Doc, I got a headache.
Mm.
Doc, I got sand in my vagina. Can you help me out?
Well, that's actually a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
the little clinic or the aid station and all that. How did your supplies? I mean, how did you maintain all that? Or
So we had a convoy come in every other day at night to bring a hot dinner. So if we needed supplies, they would bring them on that because they'd come from Brassfield, where our main aid station was, and they just send us, if we used up certain supplies, they just send it all with that, all at once, because it was dangerous for them to come in, so they limited the amount of times they could come in and bring us stuff. If we really need it, we'd roll out to Brassfield and grab it, but, otherwise, if we could wait, we'd just wait for that whole delivery. I mean...
Did you guys ever get any, Apache air support? Like
I was going to ask that or medevac.
Yeah.
Our medevac was basically ourselves.
Really? Vehicles, wheeled vehicles?
Yeah, our Bradleys.
Dang. Well, I guess that's Bradley's pretty secure.
The only time that we actually called in an Apache was, I think, like the last 2 weeks we were there.
Yeah.
We were actually the outgoing guys. The new guys came in, so we were showing them around the city.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a berm built around the city, and we were going through an opening. And at that point, the IED game was starting to change. They had the shape charges and all that.
EFPs.
And when we went through, it wasn't my Bradley, it was a different one. But it went off, missed the reactive armor, went into the driver's compartment, took out the driver's legs.
Yeah.
So that was our goodbye present.
Damn it.
But then they called in the Apaches, for Overwatch. Otherwise, it was all pretty much just up to us.
Wow.
So, overall, what did you think your experience over there, for you personally?
Life-changing.
How so?
You learn who you are. You learn what you're capable of. You learn that you're capable of a lot more than you think you are. It's hot, it's cold, you got people running around trying to kill you. Are you capable of dealing with stuff that is way above your normal life? Somebody breaks into your company, are you going to run? Are you going to deal with it? What are you going to do? You just kind of learn that you have that fortitude to deal with things that happen. But then you also have to deal with the whole mental, issues that come along with it. But, you see a lot more of the world because we're kind of, just here in the United States, people like, oh, I hate the United States. You have no idea what the rest of the world's like.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what people put up with. In Samara, there's trash all over the streets. It's just buildings are half gone. You're lucky to get hot food. You're lucky to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
You've got terrorists all over the place. They have it bad. Here, if you got $1, you can eat. Over there, you're lucky to have $1.
Mm.
So you also realize just how good you have it. If I don't eat for a day, it's okay. There's food everywhere.
Mm.
Over there, do we have food? Pretty much. You got the kids running out, trying to get candy from you, get MREs, different things. It's not because they love MREs. It's because food is scarce. So You know, it puts everything in perspective. But it also shows you that you need to figure out exactly what, like what life is about. What are you even here for? Because you never know when you're not here anymore. You know,
Excuse me.
over there, you can go outside the wire, get hit by an IED, and it's over.
Yeah.
Over here, you can just drive down the street, drunk driver hits you, it's over.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to think about what do you want to do, and just do it, really.
Well, I mean, obviously, we know that you're no longer in the Army.
Yeah.
So how long were you in, and when did you decide, or what was the catalyst to get you to decide to leave?
So I got out in July of 06. So we got back in December of 05. We already knew we were going back in 07. And at that point, I just realized we're not accomplishing anything. We're just going over there to be, you know, targets, you know, trying to, you know, flush a mouse out of its hole. We're not building anything over there. At least we didn't see much. I mean, we had voting. I mean, that was kind of a big deal. But
Was that the purple finger?
yeah. But other than that, it wasn't like we were changing people's lives. Pretty much, we were still dealing with the insurgents. So we couldn't stand around all day building stuff because then they'd just come out and drop mortars on us.
Yeah.
So at that point, I just realized it's not like it was a lost cause, but it wasn't something that I felt like I wanted to be back in for. So
Do you think it was worth the price?
yes and no.
Yeah.
I think if we want to be leaders of the free world, we got to be willing to sacrifice for freedom. We have to be willing to put our money and our lives where our mouth is. Otherwise, somebody else will step up. And Saddam Hussein was doing some awful stuff, gassing his own people, just killing people, torturing. And I think we just did things the wrong way. We just rolled in there thinking we were, you know, hot shit, gonna fix everything real quick and be done with it. But we didn't take into account the insurgency and, you know, the after effects of all that. So we just weren't prepared. We were prepared for the invasion. We weren't prepared to fix the whole country. And I don't think somebody from the other side of the world can fix that country. Only they can.
Well, it's not the job of the Army either.
Yeah, we're there to wreck shit and leave.
Yeah.
You know, we're not police officers. You know.
So it's been 20 years. I mean, since you left Iraq, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Would you do it again?
Considering I've had nightmares of going back over, probably not.
Do you have nightmares of like getting orders in the mail of them like you've been recalled to active duty?
I've had a few of those, and those are brutal. You wake up sweating, you know, trying to figure out where the hell you are. And I think if it was more like a World War II type of thing where we knew who the enemy was, we knew that we
uniforms.
we were doing the right thing and that it was for the good of the world, it would be just fine.
Well, what about bigger picture? So bigger picture, you serving in the Army anyway. What are your thoughts?
I would definitely do it again. I would make different choices as far as jobs and whatnot, but if I could turn back time to then, I would probably, instead of getting out, I would find some other specialization. You know, I had the opportunity to go in the Air Force after that, but since I had already gone through the whole recruitment thing, I kind of knew to double check what they were saying, and I think I would be better off if I would have stayed in, just find a different job And life is so much easier in the military and so much harder at the same time. Like, it's a harder life.
It's a completely different world.
Yeah.
That's a great perspective.
It's so hard to get back into civilian life. I mean, I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah.
Even 20 years later. It's just, once the military is so good at training people that it's hard to get that training out.
As a drill sergeant, we're taught to inculcate the Army values into our trainees, which inculcate is like you weave it into the fiber of their being, which is another way of saying brainwashing.
You see it in your coworkers, don't you? Drives you nuts, I bet.
And it's like, I know if I'm going to be a minute late, my stomach turns like I want to throw up.
Yeah.
And that's 20 years later. I still feel like that. And whenever people just don't want to do stuff, they're just kind of lazy.
They're whining and complaining about it.
I have always been a very big proponent that if I can get a veteran hired in for a civilian position, I'm getting them.
It's easier to train somebody to do a job than to train somebody to be a good employee.
Yeah.
It really is, because being a good person, a good worker, that starts at birth pretty much. And unless you go through the military, it's so much harder to train somebody to do that.
Yeah, the values system, I guess.
Yeah, and you're not in the medical field now.
Yeah, I stayed in the medical field for most of the past 2 decades. Just got out about 5 years ago.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah, I realized I just didn't have the empathy I had anymore. When I saw people hurting, it wasn't like, oh man, I gotta fix it. It was like, oh shit, what's wrong now?
Yeah.
I didn't have the patience.
They call it moral fatigue.
Yeah.
You get like you just don't care.
Yeah. I really, after that long, I noticed my performance slipping. And at that point, it was better for me just to get out of the medical field altogether, try to find something else.
That's great self-awareness.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, these patients, especially me working at a VA hospital, I'm not going to give people subpar care because of me. I would rather sacrifice a good job and find something else and allow somebody else to step in and give them better care.
Okay. That's a good topic. There is that self-awareness of that's an honorable thing to say.
It is very much so.
And that's a good thing that comes from the military, is that honor, that code of honor of saying, I was just listening to a podcast about when Pat Tillman died, and every single guy that was out there with him put it on themselves, saying, "Oh, if I wouldn't have followed orders and split the platoon, or it's my fault. I didn't, or yeah, if I would have been with Pat, I could have done this." And they were telling the chaplain this, and every single guy in that platoon was blaming themselves for Pat Tillman getting killed by this friendly fire incident, when it wasn't any of their fault. It came from above. It was a complete failure of leadership at the battalion level or more, and that sense of honor that is instilled in the lower enlisted ranks, even the officers at ranks. It's a special thing, man. That you don't see that in corporate America, where people will say, "Yeah, boss, that's my fault. Yeah, I'll take responsibility for that." Everybody tries to put it off on something, blame somebody else, or blame equipment or whatever.
Right.
You don't see that nowadays, man. So congratulations. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where that comes from too. The always blaming yourself. I mean, we had our major casualty. We had a guy named Ed Myers. I still remember our LT coming in the room saying, "Hey, we're taking a convoy to go pick up some more vehicles," and we're all standing there. He's like, "I need a volunteer." And I was just getting ready to raise my hand. Now, Myers, he wasn't like the high-speed kind of guy.
Was he another medic, or was
he was
infantry? Okay.
And he was a nice guy, but he wasn't like gung-ho. He was just an average dude. And he wasn't the most well liked. I mean, he was liked as a person, but as a high speed
Yeah. It
infantry
wasn't
guy.
Ranger Rick.
Yeah. And I was about ready to volunteer, and then they were like, "All right, Myers, you volunteered." I'm like, "Shit!" They were gonna go. They would be able to get food, just have a day off. It sounded great, and I was like, "Damn, I should have volunteered," but I didn't. And then about an hour later, I'll come back, and one of them got hit by a monster IED.
Mm.
And Myers didn't make it.
Wow.
He got burnt up bad.
Yeah.
And then not that long after, a guy, I can't remember who it was, but they brought a laptop in and showed us. They had already uploaded the video of that IED going off.
Yeah.
And we could see the Humvee burning.
Damn it.
And like, he had kids, you know, he wasn't much older than I was, but he had a young family, and that's something I'll never forget. And it was crazy just seeing that video not that long after that. They're yelling Allahu Akbar, and they're having a good old time. And, you know, that was our really terrible bad day.
So most of the engagements then, I'm assuming, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like most of it was IED related while
Yeah.
you were there.
Yeah, it was a lot of,
You really, the sniper stuff didn't kick in real heavy yet.
yeah, not really.
That was a little bit later, about a year later, I think.
Yeah,
When the Russians started getting involved, the Dagestanis and
yeah, it was mainly IEDs, and you could tell near the end the IEDs were starting to change. They were starting to get a little better at their placement, you know, not doing the same place over and over again. The biggest IED we had was a V-bid. They stuck a dump truck full of ammonium nitrate 155 rounds. And their plan was they use that dump truck to knock down our Jersey barriers. And then they'd send in a suicide bomber, because we were sleeping in, there were two buildings, a bigger building, I mean, it wasn't that big, but then we had a smaller, like, little sleeping area. And that suicide bomber was to run right into our sleeping area. And luckily our roof guard got it in time. Basically his torso just blew down our door, and then the dogs got to eat good that day. But yeah, I mean, that blew most of us out of our beds.
Dang.
That was how big that was. The only thing that was left was this massive hole and a dump truck axle.
Where was that? The big dump truck IED? There was another one that was successful almost. There was another dump truck, but
You mean all the material, the debris, it was all gone, and all you had was a single axle?
Yeah, there was like
How'd you
bits
know it was
and
a dump
pieces,
truck?
because it was a monster axle sitting there.
It wasn't a Tomahawk missile in disguise.
I wish. Now, it was wild because the only injuries we really had was one of my guys was sleeping not with his boots on, so he jumped down and jumped on broken glass.
oh,
So he got a really hellacious cut on his foot. But the family living next door to us, the Iraqis, their house got flattened. So
So I'm assuming you're a disabled veteran.
yeah.
Was that something that was already established where you went through that process as part of your ETS out of the service, or is it something that you filed after you got out?
That was years and years later. Basically, I had to get convinced to go. I always told myself, nothing's wrong, yeah, everything's all right. And then I had an ex-girlfriend basically force me to go to the VA. You know, you sign up, you get your card, then they give you a doctor to go see, and then they kind of tell you, okay, you can go, go talk to the psychiatrist over here, the psychologist, go through that kind of stuff, and then do you have any other injuries? Because I was just wanting to get out at that point. When I was getting out, I just basically went around, had all my stuff signed, and that was it.
yeah.
They weren't having a whole lot of classes on what to do when you get out. It was just basically sign your papers, turn your stuff in.
Are you glad your girlfriend made you go to the VA?
Oh, yeah. And the growth of the VA has been tremendous. All the money that's been dumped into these hospitals, getting them better, getting more, different types of treatments. We've got a clinic right across the street from my house where my main doctor is. They draw the blood there. They can send it to the main hospital. They call you with your, all your results. Then I say, hey, I'm losing my memory. What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll send you to get your like a TBI physical. They went and did the burn pit stuff with me. So that was part of the whole thing. You just got to speak up.
Yeah.
It's not like Beverly Hills amazing healthcare,
No, it's
but
pretty
it's
good.
pretty good. When I've had my nose surgeries because of the whole burn pit thing, it's been Washington University doctors that did it. It wasn't just some Joe Schmo doctor.
Yeah.
So, and being 50% or above, I don't pay for it.
Yeah.
They pay for all that stuff. So it's, talking with my parents, they go through private doctors. My mom's going through cancer treatments and stuff right now, and just the trouble they have getting in to see their doctors. It's like they pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this just monthly for it, and I can just call up, get the same level of service, and I'm perfectly fine.
So if you had a son about ready to join or old enough to join, would you encourage him, yes or no, in today's world?
Join the Coast Guard. Coast Guard would be good. Air Force. It's a good profession. Just pick the right one. If you really truly are wanting to be special forces, all that stuff, you don't always have to buy into what you're doing. That's more of you want to be that guy. You're willing to put in that kind of work. You're not always going to agree with what the government does. You don't always agree with what your civilian, bosses do. But there's so many different types of jobs you can do. Like my best friend's brother just retired from the Navy, joined as enlisted, went cybersecurity, got his degree, went through officer school, just retired as a lieutenant commander, got his 100% disability, got his retirement check, and then now he's working the same job, but as a civilian. Went right back to the people he was working with because he had such a good relationship that civilian company just hired him right back for the same job. So now he's getting 3 checks.
Yeah.
So,
well, I have to thank Jeremy personally, and I've thanked you before, but I want everybody to hear, and Kevin, that I would not have gone to the VA to pursue my disability and treatments and trying to get better if it weren't for meeting you two guys. Because I remember when I first started, Kevin, he was like, you got your disability yet? You been to the VA? And I was like, nah. And then talked to Jeremy, and Jeremy's like, dude, what the hell's wrong? What are you doing? And I was like, maybe there's something to this. So then I did and found help for a lot of stuff, issues that I've been like you, man. I just was like putting it like denying. I was in denial about a lot of issues. And so any other veterans out there, man, like there was poisoned water in Korea where I served. Like there's crap like you don't even know, man, where you served. You could be dealing with chemicals, toxic chemicals, or normal training. You get hurt, go to sick call, get the stuff documented, and take care of yourself.
And I think part of the problem too is there's still that Vietnam War era mentality where they just want to give you drugs, move on.
That is not true. They don't.
The VA has leveled up to civilian sector quality.
I just went to a physical therapy appointment today at our local VA at the county clinic, and the physical therapist did something called dry needling on my arm. I've had some issues with my elbow for a long time since the Army, and they're going through the process trying to make it better. And if they can't, then we're going to go on to the next level. And but I remember when I was on active duty, like you couldn't even go see a chiropractor back then. Like there was no such thing. No way would they let a chiropractor on an active duty installation. Now there's chiropractors, dry needling, TENS units, like all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, they'll
and these
do
people
whatever it
really
takes.
care about you. They really want to help the veterans. They really care. It's a great thing.
The other thing that's really big that I hear from a lot of veterans is, oh, I didn't go overseas, or other people need it worse than you. That's not how it works.
No.
The government gives the hospital system a certain amount of money for each patient, and basically each year they give them, like, there's a rating scale for each patient depending on how bad your stuff is.
Yeah.
So if you've got viral respiratory infection where it's super hard to treat, they get more money. It's not like you're taking money away from anybody.
Right.
That was a
you're
cool
not taking
thing
somebody's place in line either.
No.
That's what I always thought.
The government will just give them more money because they're not going to run out of money. There's just no way. And you just gotta go in, but you can't just walk in off the street. Just call them up and say, hey, I need to get registered for a doctor.
Yeah. Get a primary care.
Yeah.
Get registered with a primary care doctor through the VA. I can go on my phone, log into the VA app, send an instant message to my doctor and the nurse, and I'll get a response back within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like, all my meds are sent straight to my house.
Yep.
All I got to do is go on the app, refill it. It gets sent to my house.
Speaking of meds,
You want to talk about this bourbon?
we've been sipping a medicinal bourbon
Yeah.
throughout this entire show.
Jeremy, what was that guy's name? Myers?
Yeah, Ed Myers.
Ed Myers. Here, finish that.
Oh, shit.
Because we're going to do a toast to Ed Myers. And anybody else from the 369 Armored that didn't make it home. Not much left.
I wonder why.
Well, we didn't start with a full bottle tonight. It was a little bit more than half full. And
tell us about it, Matt.
So this is something I brought home from Nashville, from the Nashville Barrel Company. We talked about them on the last show a little bit. This is their small batch straight bourbon whiskey, cask strength. It's aged 7 years, 115.62 proof. And this is something that it was distilled in Kentucky. They took it down to Tennessee, to Nashville, and they barreled it and aged it themselves.
And the Distillers Anonymous.
Distillers Anonymous, but we do have we think the mash bill, right?
Yeah, the mash bill is 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% barley.
Okay.
So a little bit higher on the barley.
Yeah. And this is spicier than you would expect from that much barley, only 10% rye. But...
And aging 7 years.
And aged 7 years, but it's 115.62 proof. What did you get, Kevin? On the nose.
Well, first of all, I want to say I enjoyed it. As soon as I didn't even have to bring it to the nose, and the aroma was already coming right out, the flavors. Easily for me, it was apple spice, citrus, licorice, and it was, very noticeable.
Yeah. Okay. I got, I wrote down typical bourbon, but very good. Like what I would expect a good bourbon to smell like. That's kind of what I wrote. Mm-hmm. Vanilla, but a spicy vanilla is what I wrote down. Tasting it, I got vanilla, toasted nuts, orange peel with a question mark, because I wasn't quite sure if it was orange peel, but
no,
something
I had
citrusy
orange on there as well.
Yeah,
dark cherries, and the oak barrel
definitely comes
for me.
Through. Yeah. It has a long linger. It stays with you. The burn kind of stays in your mouth. I didn't really get much burn after my mouth too much, but the tip, middle, back of my tongue, Yeah, it burned.
Yeah, I was impressed. It has a full mouth feel.
Yeah, coats your entire mouth.
All the way. And on the finish for me, it was the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, it was heat all the way to the belly. I mean, it just didn't let up. But it kind of settled in over time. But again, the full mouth feel, cinnamon on that back end. Still got some of that dark cherry and citrus.
The color
Really
of this is
good.
really, really beautiful color.
It is.
Up into the caramel color range at the top of the, it's not mahogany, not like I would call it like Woodford Double Oaked is darker, but I was real close to giving this 5 stars, Kevin. Real close.
Wow.
But I gave it almost 4.5. I was looking back at my old stuff. I wish I wouldn't have given Redline a 4.5. I wish I would have stayed at 4. Kind of tied my hands there, but I'm going Nashville Barrel Company small batch 4.5 stars.
I rated it 4 out of 5, 7.5 star kind of guy. But I did give it 4. One of the things that surprised me, actually, was the flavor wheel.
Yeah.
You and I were very close on the flavor wheel. We never
Usually
agree on
I'm
the flavor
more
wheel.
intense. I'm a more intense guy with my flavor profiling than you. Jeremy, what did you think, man? This is your first bourbon tasting on the Headspace and Tasting podcast.
What surprised me was how spicy it was.
Okay.
It wasn't like just your generic hard liquor punch,
Right.
just because it's hard liquor.
Mm-hmm.
It was spicy enough where the burn kind of stayed in your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't get that typical hard liquor shiver afterwards. It wasn't like, oh God.
Right.
Like when you drink Fireball or some
Yeah.
crap like that. Like, I never really believed much in higher end liquor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of a gimmick until I tried that.
Okay.
And it's just like the flavor stayed in your mouth without being overwhelming, especially for a non-liquor drinker.
Yeah.
The spice was not overwhelming, but it let you know it was there.
Right.
But it was pretty darn good. I would drink that again.
Cool, man.
I don't think you'll find this in the store.
No.
You have to go down to the barrel.
Yep, Nashville Barrel Company is. I got this at the Tasting Room, which is located at 425 Church Street in Nashville. But they have their main barrel facility is 222 Fessler's Lane in Nashville, and you can find them at Nashville Barrel Co. Or at Tasting Room Nashville, and NashvilleBarrelCo.com or TastingRoomNashville.com. Hit up Jennifer down there, and I went for the tasting. This is where I went for a tasting. I paid for a flight of 4 tastings. I ended up doing, I think, 8 or 10 different tastings because they were just, I told them about the podcast, and I was into it, so they had a good time. I had a good time, and it was really fun. I got another bottle sitting here that we're going to try from them very soon. And so hopefully we can get in contact with them, maybe get some free samples up here. That'd be great. I'd like talking about them because they were fun. They were cool people, and I like what they do.
Yeah.
They let me in on a couple different secrets, but I'm not going to tell.
Jeremy, it was great having you on the show.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Love to hear the different perspective everyone experienced in the War on Terror, whatever it was that they did in that time period.
You're
And
welcome. I hope it kind of inspires more people to just be open. Doing research over the years about PTSD and why people struggle with it so bad. And you hear about World War II veterans, not talking about their stuff. Vietnam veterans not talking about it. And I think they struggle so bad because they don't talk about it. It happened. There's nothing you can do about it. You weren't there to, be evil. You have to accept it.
Yeah.
And once you're willing and able to just be like, okay, this is what happened. If people want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, just tell them. The people that love you and care about you, they're not going to think any different when you say stuff like that. It's just get it out. It's freeing. I no longer have to think about, oh man, all this crazy crap that happened, all the lives that have changed because we were over there. It was a job. We had to do it. And now that I'm able to talk about it and just say all the bad crap that happened, it doesn't weigh on you nearly as bad. So,
By the way, how did you leave? Did you convoy out or did you fly out?
we flew out. That was the only time I've ever been in a Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We went out, and then we flew out on the what's the huge transport
Oh, plane?
plane, yeah.
The C-17?
C-17s.
Yeah.
The clipped wing?
Yeah, it was funny because they were still shooting RPGs and different stuff at them, so they didn't tell us they were going to do any kind of maneuvers. Everybody thought it was just going to be like, hey, we just go
Combat
out
takeoff.
Yeah, all of a sudden the plane just starts swerving back and forth, and everybody's like, oh my God, we're going to die.
We're going down.
And I was just sitting there laughing at folks, and you could tell the people have never really flown before.
Yeah.
Because we flew over there in a big-ass jumbo jet.
Yeah.
So, like, flying from, God, did we leave Spiker or Anaconda? One of those places. We flew the C-17 over to Kuwait, and then we flew commercial back.
Okay.
So just the flight out of Iraq, it was, a little crazy, but it was cool. It was an
great.
experience.
All right. Well, let's have a toast to Ed Myers and the other men of 369 Armor.
Ed Myers.
All right, rest in peace, brother.
Matt, how can our listeners get a hold of us?
All sorts of ways. On Facebook, Headspace and Tasting Podcast. On Twitter, or X, Headspace and Tasting Podcast. If you have a suggestion for a show, you want to be a guest, you want to donate a bottle, you can email us at showmemk@gmail.com. And we're also on YouTube. It is the Headspace ampersand. Is that how you say it?
I guess. Just the and sign.
The and symbol. Headspace in tasting. We're on YouTube, so follow there. Like, subscribe, share, comment, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. That would be cool. And Jeremy, thank you for coming. You're welcome back anytime, brother.
Appreciate it.
And
if any of our listeners are War on Terror veterans,
yeah.
would love to hear from
We
you.
do.
Our guest list is starting to stack up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you served anywhere in the world, it was a global war on terror. And, I remember Philippines, Horn of Africa, wherever you served, we want to hear from you.
Sure do.
That's it. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.